Every spell you've cast that didn't work, every ritual that felt hollow, every tarot reading that told you what you already knew, they all failed for the same reason. You're trying to wield power while pretending half of yourself doesn't exist. You've done everything right. You learned the correspondences. You waited for the correct moon phase. You visualized until your third eye ached. You lit the right candles, spoke the right words, even charged your intentions under a new moon in Scorpio because the internet said it would work better. And still, something's off. It feels flat. Performative. Like you're going through the motions of a spell instead of actually bending reality. Because here's what nobody wants to tell you. The magic that actually moves reality doesn't come from memorizing planetary hours. It comes from accessing the parts of yourself you've exiled into the dark. Every time you avoid your shadow, your rage, your grief, your shame, the ugly thoughts you'd never say out loud, you're essentially doing magic with one hand tied behind your back. And then wondering why nothing lands with force. Your shadow isn't the enemy of your practice. It's the battery. It's where your actual power lives, the raw fuel you've been too afraid to touch. And until you're willing to go there, to face what you've buried, your spells will keep feeling like wishes instead of commands. Jung didn't invent this. He just gave it a name. The shadow is everything you decided was too ugly, too angry, too hungry to be acceptable. It's the parts of yourself you amputated because someone told you good girls don't get that angry. Good people don't feel that kind of jealousy. Spiritual people don't fantasize about burning their entire life down and starting over. So you cut those parts away. You buried them. You pretended they didn't exist. But here's the thing about buried things. They don't actually die. They just wait. For witches, this matters more than it does for anyone else, because magic is about directing will. And you cannot direct what you refuse to acknowledge exists. You can't wield power you won't admit you're holding. Your shadow isn't evil. It's exiled. It's the rage you swallowed at 12 when you learned it wasn't safe to show it. The jealousy you feel when someone gets what you want, the kind you immediately smother with guilt. The part of you that's so tired of performing, of being palatable, of making yourself smaller so other people feel comfortable. When you do magic without integrating your shadow, you're essentially asking the universe to help you manifest while lying about who you actually are. And the universe doesn't negotiate with liars. It doesn't reward performance. It responds to truth. Here's what nobody tells you. Shadow work is the most dangerous magic you'll ever do. Not because it's cursed or forbidden, but because you're not journaling your way to self-love. You're opening a door you've kept bolted shut for years. And what comes through won't be pretty at first. It'll be the version of you that doesn't smile for strangers. The one who keeps score. The one who knows exactly how to hurt the people you love because you've thought about it in the dark. Shadow work means sitting down with that. The intrusive thoughts you've shamed into silence. The urges you've dressed up in explanations and excuses. The part of you that doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, doesn't want to be the bigger person. That's the first rule. You will meet the parts of yourself that scare you. And this is why most people quit. They think shadow work will make them feel better immediately. It doesn't. It makes you feel worse before it makes you whole. Because the power doesn't come from feeling good about yourself. It comes from not turning away. From sitting across from your own capacity for cruelty, for selfishness, for destruction, and saying, "You're mine too." That's the integration. That's the magic. You don't banish the shadow. You stop pretending it isn't standing right behind you. Start with what you judge hardest in other people. The thing that makes your skin crawl, that you can't let go of, that you rant about to anyone who'll listen. That's your shadow talking. That's what you've disowned in yourself, projected outward so you don't have to feel it inside your own chest. The people who trigger you the most are showing you exactly where your power is locked away. Then ask the question nobody wants to answer. What would I do if I knew I wouldn't be punished, wouldn't be judged, wouldn't have to explain myself to anyone? Not in some destructive way, just honest. What would you create? Who would you become? What would you stop pretending to care about? The answer is usually terrifying. That's how you know you're getting close. The real work is in the body. Shadow work isn't intellectual. It's not something you think your way through. It's the clenched jaw when someone asks what you really want. The held breath when you admit something true. The nausea that rises when you let yourself want something you've spent years forbidding. Your body knows what you've buried. Listen to it. Keep a shadow journal, but not for gratitude or affirmations. Write the thoughts you'd never say out loud. The fantasies that make you feel ashamed. The truth you've been editing out of every story you tell about yourself. This isn't about being a good person. It's about being a whole one. And whole people don't need permission to exist. Here's what shifts when you stop running. Your magic stops feeling like you're asking permission and starts feeling like you're issuing commands. Because you're finally working from your whole self, not the edited version. Not the you that's acceptable or palatable or safe. The entire you, unfiltered, unchained. That's where the power lives. And you can feel the difference the second you step into ritual. It's not tentative anymore. It's certain. The spells that didn't work before start landing. They land because you're not split anymore. The you doing the ritual and the you holding all the real desire are finally the same person. There's no more internal sabotage, no hidden part of you pulling against what you're trying to build. You're aligned. Fully. And magic loves that kind of integrity. You stop being afraid of your own power. You've already met the worst parts of yourself and brought them into the light. You've sat with the rage, the hunger, the bitterness, the ruin, and you didn't burn up. Which means there's nothing left to hide. And nothing left to hide means nothing left to fear. You become unshakable in a way that people can feel when you walk into a room. This is the thing that changes everything. Shadow work doesn't make you a better person. It makes you a whole one. And whole people don't need to perform magic, they embody it. They are the spell. That's the end game. That's what you're avoiding. Every witch who's ever terrified anyone, every myth about magic that actually unsettles you, they all knew this. The power isn't in the light. It's in what you're willing to face in the dark. The ones who made kings nervous, who shifted the course of entire kingdoms with a whisper, who bent reality just by existing, they weren't afraid of their shadows. They fed them. They worked with them. They became them when they needed to. Your shadow isn't the problem. Avoiding it is. Because every single ounce of energy you spend keeping it locked up, keeping it quiet, keeping it acceptable, that's energy you're not using to create, to transform, to manifest. You're pouring your power into a cage instead of into your life. And the magic you're capable of on the other side of this work? It isn't gentle. It isn't safe. It isn't approved by anyone but you. And that's exactly why it works. That's why it's real. The next time you light a candle or pull a card, ask yourself, who's actually doing the work here? The version of you that you show the world, or the one you've been keeping in the dark? Because only one of them has real power, and it's not the one you think. Follow Blackfire Atelier. I'll see you in the shadows.